This legendary singer-songwriter woke up with a massive hangover after a night of partying. He vaguely remembered some cool chords that he'd been messing with the night before, so at the studio a few hours later, he was trying to recall the song, and as he started playing it, his band members were ecstatic, saying, you gotta put lyrics to that song. To which the singer replied, I can't. I have a really bad hangover. So they were like, write the song about that. Out came one of the great 70s classic rock tunes. Up next, the legend himself tells the story on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. Make sure to subscribe below to be a part of a community that's dedicated to the classics of music history. I'm ready to regale you with a tale from our series Revelations. This is where featured artists go deep on their greatest songs and albums, insight you won't find anywhere else. Today on Revelations, it's a new episode from our Zoom session with legend Peter Frampton, as he goes further in depth on one of the biggest blockbuster albums ever, Frampton Comes Alive. The last few times we covered Baby I Love Your Way and Show Me the Way. This time it's the 70s top 10 classic, Do You Feel Like We Do? As many of you know, in 1971, Peter Frampton left the band Humble Pie, a band that he'd formed a few years before. He did go solo, and the song Do You Feel Like We Do, that was originally released in 1973 from his second album, Frampton's Camel, which was the name of his backing group. The original studio version was 6 minutes and 32 seconds, but it was often a lot longer during his live shows where the band would extend it with some really cool improvisations, transforming the song with new takes on the vocals. It's long been a crowd favorite. And as time went on, Peter continued to refine this song. It was recorded live on November 22nd, 1975 as part of a sold-out show at Memorial Hall at Plattsburgh. It was one of the old songs that hit the top of the charts from the landmark album Frampton Comes Alive, one of the three, which Frampton Comes Alive was the biggest selling album of all time for a few years before it was passed up by a couple of other blockbusters, including Michael Jackson's Thriller. It was also the best-selling live record ever, until live albums by Garth Brooks and Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band and Eagles overtook it. But that gives you an idea of how big this record was. Do You Feel Like We Do is interesting in that Frampton actually sings Do You Feel Like I Do throughout the song, although live he would throw in the exact title every once in a while. Do you feel like we do? On the live version, Frampton used his signature talk box, which several bands started to experiment with, including Aerosmith on Sweet Emotion in the 70s. But Frampton was the artist most associated with it because of his soloing on this song and his use on Show Me the Way. Frampton used the talk box in his live shows and the audience would just go insane. Apparently, he would say to the crowd, I want to thank you, which came out sounding like something else. It's Family Channel, so we can't say it. Soon, people were creating their own talk boxes, homemade, impersonating Frampton. Some actually got shocked in the process. A couple of cool facts about Frampton Comes Alive. When he brought an album's worth of live material to the great record man Jerry Moss, Jerry said, where's the rest of it? So they made Frampton Comes Alive a double album, which worked really well, especially for sales. Also, apparently, DJs across the world loved the long version of Do You Feel Like We Do, which was 14 minutes long, because it could take a smoke break, both cigarette and doobies. I'll let Peter tell you the rest in our exclusive interview. Now, as we go into this interview, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. I wear them all the time. You'll love the side graphic feature just like I do. I've got Professor of Rock on the side here. You can customize the sides of your glasses with the names of your logo or your business or your own name. Check the links below for Zenni.com. Here's Peter. Do you feel like Well, I want to ask you about Do You Feel Like We Do? My favorite song that you've ever done. For my money, one of the best party rockers of all time. It's an epic classic rock monument, as I would say. It started, as I understand, as a 4-chord DFCG riff, rehearsing in a studio on Old Kent Road.
That's right.
You were experiencing, as I understand, a hangover when you wrote the lyrics, or tell me about that. Tell me that story.
Yeah, I had, I think I'd imbibed a little bit, one or two glasses too much the night before. And so that's how the lyrics happened, really. And that's where Do You Feel Like I Do came from. It's like, I just, the night before the rehearsal, I just written these 4 chords, put these 4 chords together and sang Do You Feel Like I Do over the top, you know. And that's what I took to rehearsals. And we started jamming, and we involved that. We used that as the chorus. And then I started writing some lyrics for a verse that I quickly came up with. And that's when I came up with that line, you know, with the hangover line, you know. Woke up this morning with a wine glass in my hand. Woke up this morning with a wine glass in my hand. So, you know, there's nothing worse than waking up. This is going to gross you out, but there's nothing worse than having a hangover, which I haven't had I'm in my 18th year, so I haven't had one in that long. So, so, and you wake up and there's an ashtray right here full of cigarettes and a glass of old liquor of some sort right there. And you just wake up and you get this awful smell. And that's where I woke up this morning with a wine glass in my hand. That's that awful feeling, you know.
Again, such great imagery. I love how you capture that lyrically because it does. It puts you there. It takes you there. Now, this wasn't a single before, the recorded live version for Comes Alive. Do you feel like we do? Now, there's 3 versions of the song, right? The original that you hear on the Frampton's Camel album, which is around 7 minutes long with no talk box.
No talk box.
Then a faster tempo version plus the live version. Live version, 14 minutes long, and FM radio, of course, played the hell out of it. They still do. But the top 40 edit was basically cut really in half, just under 7 minutes. As I was thinking about that song last night, Beatles and Elton John really are the only artists that could get away with that on top 40 AM radio at that time. So you were really an elite company with having a song that was that, or like Queen.
Yeah. 7 minutes, you know, it's so long. I mean, singles are supposed to be 3 minutes. That's it, you know. And most were. So yes, they asked me to do an edit, and I couldn't believe it. And then, which we released, and then I believe most FM stations did their own, like top 40 FM stations did their own edit, like PLJ and WPLJ in New York did their own, which was different than the one I'd done. But yeah, everyone was trying to do an edit to get it on the radio, I guess.
Those were the days, though, where FM, at least, when FM started to become really prevalent, as I understand it, DJs loved songs that were that long because they could play it and they could go take a smoke break, is what they say.
And other things, you know.
Exactly.
Lots of...
When I say smoke break.
Yes. It's not just a ciggy break. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, before Frampton Comes Alive, you prided yourself that you never played the same guitar solo twice the same during a live show. And then when Frampton Comes Alive became such a monster, and all the audience wants to hear is that version that they, exactly as it was tracked on vinyl. I know you want to give people what you want, but that had to be tough artistically, because that was something that was a big part of the beginning, right?
Well, I've never played the same solo that's on the record ever, because I'd have to learn it, because it just happened, you know. So no, I still have never, you know, I quote little parts, but for me, the only reason that I'm able to do these songs over and over and over again is because I never play the same thing twice. The song is the same. The parts of the song are the same. The arrangement is the same, but the solo is completely different just about every night, you know, every night. And if you ask me to play, you know, what I played last night, I'd say, well, I'd have to hear the tape and give me 3 weeks to learn what I played, you know, because it's stream of consciousness. I don't ever play the same thing.
Going from that huge success of Frampton Comes Alive, where you were at that moment, going from there to the next record.
Well, it is in the book, and I do describe that feeling. And the first call I got from my manager was when the album went to #1, and I was over the moon. You know, who wouldn't be? You know, I said, "You're kidding me! You know, I can't. It's #1. We're #1." You know, and get very excited, and then maybe 2 months later, I get the second call from my manager, and he says, "Are you sitting down?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm sitting down." So he said, "Well, you've just broken the sales record of Carole King's Tapestry album, which is the biggest selling record of all time." And that's when I got scared. And I think from that moment onwards, I had this horrible feeling that now I was in this predicament whereby I've got this huge behemoth of Comes Alive, which is a live record, and it contains songs that took 6 years to write. Humble Pie, there's a song from Humble Pie, there's songs from all my solo records leading up to Comes Alive, and I felt that I was not going to be able to have the time to come up with the goods, and I was scared. And that was the main feeling. It was knowing that I had to go and do a studio record in a very short space of time. Without the preparation that I for the live record. But that's very much in the book, and people can read about my feelings.
I think that's a good opening for people to go get the book and read that mental state, because anybody would be like, oh my gosh, how do I follow that up? And Jerry Moss, I love his quote though, what he cautioned, that the longer you wait to make the next record, the worse it's going to be. I think that's a great quote. Very smart record man right there.
Exactly. I agreed with him, but I disagreed with him at the same time. Because, and as I say in the book, he's one of my dearest friends, but I just felt I got that. Yes. The more time I take, the more nervous I'll be, maybe. But on the other hand, you know, it took 6 years to write all those songs. So I don't think I'm going to be able to come up with that amount of powerful songs in 3 months, you know, which is basically what I had. And so my feeling was that the I'm in You record was premature, and that it almost, as I say in the book, I should have co-written with every great songwriter in the world. They would have all wanted to write with me at that point. I should have got major producers involved, but I couldn't get out of my own way. And I'd done everything myself up until that point, and I needed help, and I didn't take it, So I have myself to blame for that situation. Read all about it.
You're in me. You Feel Like I Do, full of great stories, honest insight. I think what I appreciated most was how open you were in sharing the low points as well as elaborating on the highs. I think that's always a great rock biography instead of just the everything's great world that we live in of social media where we're putting up this facade. And I love that. Not afraid to be vulnerable and reveal your most personal feelings at pivotal moments in your life. Questionable navigation from your management, your embarrassment surrounding Sgt. Pepper, the Sgt. Pepper film. All that is so fascinating. I couldn't put the book down myself.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's life, it's there is no creative career that has reached a success level. Really, I don't think that's ever been a straight line graph all the way up or straight across, always successful. People have their ups and downs. I read Chronicles 1 by Bob Dylan, and I quote his quote in the book in as much as I was so thrilled to read that Bob Dylan said that there were a couple of years there where he thought he had writer's block, couldn't write. And then at a specific moment, he can't remember, what brought it on or whatever. He just got this urge to write lyrics, and he just got his legal pad out and started writing. And he said he wrote like 20 different pieces, in 10 days or something. And he put them in the drawer, closed the door, and he said, "There's my next album," basically. And he said, what that made him realize was that you don't have writer's block, but you're on input. You can't always be on output. You have to have time to take in inspiration, I just thought that was such a great way of putting it.
It really is.
That all of a sudden he's now, for some reason, he's in output. And you can never say when that's going to be,
Well, as an artist, you beat yourself up over that. Like, why am I not? But realizing that and connecting with that, that's huge.
Yeah, it is. But at the time, you're always thinking, oh, God, I can't write. Well, if that's the case, don't fret over it. Do something else. Because it's
force
trying
yourself,
to come back. Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Go live a little.
Yeah. And your best work could come out from that.
Yes. So I thank Bob Dylan for cluing me in on that one. In the book, there's a lot of funny things and I don't tell jokes. I just tell what happened. And everybody's life is funny, thrilling, sad. We cover, as humans, we go through every emotion, and through our lives and through our days. and I just think that, the book just covers that in a way. I don't hold back on the downside because I think it's important for people to know, that I wasn't just sitting on my laurels counting my money. When you read the book, you'll see there was a lot of time when there wasn't any money, So why write a book if you're not going to tell the reason behind why the next good thing did happen? Because, you had to go through, like I say, you never stop paying your dues. After Frampton Comes Alive hit, I thought, the money's never going to stop rolling in, and my success is never going to. I'm just the almighty, Yes, you couldn't be more wrong if you tried. Right. That's not the way, and you learn that very quickly.
Peter's memoir has been out for a while now. It's really good. It's named after this song, Do You Feel Like I Do? You can get that at the link below. Thank you for watching. To get more of this interview and many others, click on Patreon. Leave us a comment about Peter Frampton and this song below. What are your memories of the album? About Frampton Comes Alive? If this content resonates with you, we do invite you to subscribe below to join our community. Help us keep the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and a tree, friends.